What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. This week, we're back on the Travelall. It's almost done. I got a very short list of things still left to do. Most of it is inside of the cab. We're gonna be getting this interior done. I ordered 3 yards of carpet from TMI, matches this seat perfectly. I also ordered a few yards of headliner material, which is the exact same material as this. My buddy Lee's coming here tonight to make templates. So we're gonna do this in 3 sections. It'll be 1 section for the driver's side all the way back, 1 section for the transmission tunnel, and 1 for the passenger side. We have to finally close up our transmission tunnel where our shift goes through. We have a couple little odds and ends to do with the AC still. And before we do the headliner in here, our other awesome project that I'm stoked about is a roof rack. That's right, we're gonna build a custom roof rack for this thing, or somebody wants to put a surfboard on it, luggage, tires, whatever they wanna do. The other little thing is in the interior, in the cargo bay, I have to revamp the wood floor, finally build our speaker box for our 10-inch subwoofer from Rockford Fosgate, and get our amp put back in, and the drive shaft. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch our bonus episode that we put out a couple weeks ago, but we did some more burnouts in this thing. And we finally broke that drive shaft. Well, the drive shaft's hanging, so in my opinion, it's broken. It wasn't my weld though, guys. You guys were cracking on me for welding that thing. You said don't use it, but oh, there's the broken piece.
The yoke for the differential broke.
So the yoke broke. Are you yoking me, Andrew?
Not yoking.
So we do have to pull the drive shaft out. Obviously, we will get a new drive shaft since that thing was cut up and re-welded, and everybody was like, it's gonna break, it's gonna blow up. So the purpose of getting all this done is we're gonna be taking a trip out to Daytona Beach for the turkey rod run. So this is the 49th annual turkey rod run. It's about 3.5 hours from here in South Florida, Daytona Beach. They got classic cars, rat rods, hot rods, lifted trucks, lowered trucks, you name it. First step for us today is gonna be pulling out our TMI bench seats. You got the 2 bench seats out. Now we're ready to do templates. While I got this out, something that I noticed while we were doing burnouts the other day, the amount of smoke that came into the cab was crazy. Pretty sure it has a lot to do with these big old holes that are here for our shock mounts. So I'm gonna fabricate little caps for it, just bolt them down, and that should help from getting the tire smoke and road dust into the cab. All right, all the parts are ready to go. Now you kind of see what I got. So now we have a continuous flange all the way around. We'll go ahead and take this up, paint them, install them. All right, we got our little boxes, our little lids made up. I probably should have checked these before I welded them up and all that crap, but thought dawned on me as I was kind of cleaning up my welds. I'm like, maybe I should dry fit that and test it. All right, yeah, that works. I'm just gonna paint them, bolt them in, and I'm gonna throw some more sound deadener on it. While we're waiting for those to dry, Lee is here doing his layout, making some templates. All right, he's got to take these templates back to his shop. So it's finally time to do something I've been excited about since I got the station wagon, pull it off the tow truck. Every station wagon needs a roof rack for surfboards, for luggage, for spare tires, for bodies you may find on the side of the road or a deer. So Dave and I are gonna come up with a custom roof rack. We've decided we're gonna be using some 1-inch chromoly tubing. We're gonna take some dimensions and see just how big this thing's gonna be. Let's get some measuring going, Dave. All right, so we come up with our dimensions of our overall roof rack. What we're gonna try to do is break the main structure into 4 sections. So we're gonna cut it and bend this section, this section, this section, this section, and then we'll weld these together, polish them out, and then we're gonna add our crossbars. So after some manipulation by the old guns, we do have our first piece made. So at this point, we're able to cut it here at 25, which would be our center section of our front piece, 48 this way, which would be our center of our side rail. 1 piece down, 4 to go.
So we have here mocked up, it's not welded together yet, the full outside of our roof rack. So I'm gonna start probably tacking these up and then do a final weld maybe on the bench.
So the bottom of our rack is complete. It's all welded, polished up, look real good, look real good. I got it set up on top of the Travelall. I got some blocks kind of holding it up off the top of the roof. Now we're gonna start working on the stands. The roof has a slight radius, so you know we got a 1-inch tube that's gonna sit here, and it's not gonna sit flat. So first thing I'm gonna do is figure out this angle, and then we're gonna end up coping the top and welding it around. So I'm gonna use my handy dandy radius angle finder, slap that puppy down on there like that. Now I know exactly the shape of the top of our roof. So now I'll take this over to a piece of pipe, I'll transfer it on there, make a cut, and come over here and test it out. I'm liking that. That's gonna be a winner. Our next step is go ahead and cope the top of our pipe to receive the bottom of our rack. There we go, this should work. Our first stand is complete. Nice and plumb, both ways, looks good. Now we just gotta make 5 more and we're home free. So now that we got our stands kind of figured out, we are moving on to our top rack. So David and I marked the center of the entire rack. I've coped this end right here to fit on here, like so. So this will be nice and level all the way across. We will come up from here and then we'll follow the shape of the bottom rack, come all the way around, and then same thing over here. Come down and that'll all be welded together. Well, would you look at that? That is looking cool, man. Next step, cut and cope some stands about 1.5 inches. All right, so Dave and I got the full roof rack tacked together. We still have to add our crossbars that are gonna go through, which I'm gonna go ahead and cut and lay out now while Dave is gonna start taking this together. We just got a few tacks just to kind of hold everything together, bring it over to the welding table, and he's gonna try to lay down some pretty beads. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this thing's come out. All right, we got Dave final welding all of our rack, and we're also adding our bars. I guess these would be parallel bars or lateral, however you want to look at it. You want to make sure that it is square. So we're gonna put our handy dandy speed square on this thing. Voila, 2 more to go. So for our mounting hardware, I got these 10 by 1.25. This is the only thing they had with this flange head. So we're gonna be inserting these into our tubes. Now this will slide right in the pipe like so. Get a nice bead around it, Make sure it's nice and plumb both ways. Boom, boom. And then I got all these little goodies here. I got some rubber washers and I got these O-rings. That way we don't have any water dripping through our roof. And then for a little extra cush, I'll add that O-ring as well. So that will all kind of squish down on the roof line and prevent the water from leaking in. All right, this thing is fully welded. We are ready to start installing it. That's the first step, is gonna be marking all of our bolt positions on each stand. Dave's gonna go around and just trace the outside of our pipe, and then I'll find the center and drill a nice hole while David takes this back over the bench and welds our bolts into our stands. Well, there you have it, the finished product. It is bolted down, and I must say, our little rubber washers, I think, are gonna seal the deal. We brushed the rack just how I wanted it. Khalil went ahead and taped off around the whole perimeter of the roof. I'm gonna go ahead and spray a nice gloss clear. I'm gonna hit the roof again. We scuffed this up with a Scotch-Brite yesterday, wiped it down. So I'm gonna push this thing outside, prep it, and we're gonna shoot some poppies on it. Let's go. All right, so the next step on the Travelall is to get the wood floor back into the cargo area. We added our lids for our shock mounts. We added some hardware going around the perimeter just to make it a little more solid. Next step is to get our wood cargo floor back in. I saved all my pieces. Some of them have taken a beating. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna domino join these together. It's kind of like dowels. Basically what that's gonna do is join our boards together. So I'm gonna make these three in the middle a hatch. So you'll be able to open that and get access to our airlift management setup. You'll be able to get access to the fuel tank and the fill, so I don't have to keep taking this thing in and out. Our two end pieces, number 1 and number 2, these will get joined together. These 3 will get joined together. And then number 6 and 7 will get joined together. This here is the domino joiner. See, there's a plunge cut bit in here, which is gonna hollow out this wood. So it's gonna basically make the shape of that domino. Or you'll line up your boards, you'll put a mark on each side, plunge cut both sides. This domino will sit in there like that. You clamp them together, and then you have a solid piece. All right, so while that's drying, I'm gonna move into the cargo area and I'm gonna start figuring out our framing. This is where I'm gonna be putting a piano hinge. So this front section will be able to go up and down, and this back section will stay solid. This is gonna be my cut across here where I'm gonna put my piano hinge. So this is the small section that will lift up. Now that I got my front edge cut nice and straight, got my rear edge cut straight, I got my section cut out for my door, which is over there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add 6 more dominoes in this back section to hold all this wood together, keep it nice and flat. Frame is good, man. Looks a lot better this time than the first time. This is now ready to close up for the final time. The floor has been drying now for a couple hours. I wanna get this thing in. Let's pop this out, the lid. So with a little finesse, we ended up getting it in. Now we have our door just sitting here. We're gonna screw the front lip of this door to this 2x4, which is gonna stay part of the hatch. And then we got our piano hinges for back there. So we got this black piano hinge. We're definitely gonna need to cut this little sucker down. She's tight. We need 25¼ inches. So what I'm gonna do is split the difference and try to keep some of these holes and make it a little even. Right here, this guy right here. All right, that worked out pretty well. There you go. We have a hatch, baby. So now I just got to get my little valance board back on. There we go. Get that but maybe screw right back in there. All right, so our part that we broke at our party the other night, our rear diff pinion yoke, finally came in. I think this one looks a little more beefy than the one that was on there. So I've been very patiently waiting for somebody to help me make a speaker box. Nobody can come through, man. So I'm gonna do it myself. I've never made a speaker box before, believe it or not, but I do have some skills with some wood tools, so it can't be that hard. So what my plan was is to basically have these things sitting. These things are fatties, bro. They're super deep. You know, possibly like one here and one right here. And then continue the box past this fuel fill neck and kind of stop my speaker box right around here. All right, starting to take some shape. I got everything kind of temporarily nailed. This piece in the back is also temporary, just a support to hold this top up. I gotta decide what I'm gonna do over here. I'm gonna shorten this up a little bit more so I could avoid this crazy little radius corner here. I could cut it all the way to that line that you kind of see back there. Do you see it? Yeah. Cut that, straighten it out. Then I could fit my end cap. And once I get that end cap and decide, then I could cut my back piece. While the glue is drying on my speaker boxes, we finally got Lee back at the shop with all the carpet. So now it's finally time to get that stuff installed. We finally got our custom speaker box put into the Travelall. It looks amazing and it's gonna function the way it should. This thing actually even covered up our fuel fill neck, which to me looked really bad. We got our amp rack put back in. We got our custom wood floor finally put in the way it should have been from the get-go with our piano hinge. Now we have access to our Airlift performance manifold, as well as our fuel cell with the fuel pump. So God forbid anything ever goes wrong, we can access everything without pulling everything back out. We even put this little strip of carpet right here, which really finished it out great. So that really turned out awesome. Our custom roof rack, which I've been waiting for since the day I got this truck, is finally put on. Now when we go out to events, we could put tires up there. I'd go out to the beach with my surfboard. We could put luggage up there. Heck, I mean, this thing has got so many different purposes. I'm looking forward to stacking some stuff on it. Our carpet kit came out mint, man. I was a little leery about the color, but it definitely gave it a nice OEM classic look. Lee knocked it out the park. I mean, look at the detail on this thing, all this binding. I mean, he really did a great job. Super impressive. Our seat belts are all put back in. I mean, all the little fine details in the interior that we've kind of been waiting for are finally done. Our custom shift boot he put in. We even did a little custom aluminum kick panel right there where our feet are gonna be resting. Everything's lighting up the way it should. Our 8C vents and our controls are all looking great. I think the last thing we gotta do is check to make sure these 10s are dropping that bass, because we can't go cruising all the way to Daytona without some bass. So let's get this thing cranked up. I think we gotta make a couple adjustments to the amp, but for 210s and this big old station wagon, sounds pretty good. All right, well, we got our new tires mounted up on the Detroit steel wheels. So now I feel very safe about driving that 3.5-hour trip. This is gonna be the first main voyage of the Travelall. I'm super stoked. If you guys wanna see any of the coverage from the Turkey Rod Run in Daytona, man, drop it in the comment section below. Maybe we'll do some filming out there. But for now, you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for subscribing. Peace.